Hey guys, it's Bear. It's Friday, October 23rd, and tonight marks a really big milestone for me in my life. As of right now, tonight, it has been 1 year since I publicly came out as transgender. And I did that in a video, and it was a Friday night. I had just gotten home from teaching martial arts, and I had a moment of passing, my first sort of like public passing, and it gave me the courage to come home and do something that I had been struggling with for a really long time, and that was to come out. So this video is going to be a combination for my personal channel, because it's a very personal video, and I'm also going to use it for the Life of FTM channel, because I want to talk to you about making choices tonight, and that's this week's topic. For those of you who don't know, I participate in 2 YouTube channels. One is my personal channel. I've been documenting my transition since just about a year ago. And the other channel is called Life of FTM. It's a topic-driven channel. There's multiple participants, and every week we all talk about the same topic, and we all have different days. So that's why I do a video almost every Friday night. So this week's topic for the Life of FTM is choice, and like I said, it's been a year today since I came out publicly. I don't want to do a life update and talk about what my life has been like since I came out, because I'm going to do that for my 1 year on T video, which is coming up soon. But I wanted to mark it as a milestone, and I thought it was an important thing to actually talk about the choice that I made to come out as trans. So to backtrack, this week's topic for the Life of FTM is choice. And what that's talking about is, or what that's questioning is it a choice to be transgender? And that's something that I feel incredibly strongly about. I have had people in my life tell me, you made this choice to go down this path, and that's both true and false. So I feel really strongly about it, and I feel like it's a really important thing to talk about and to educate both the cis community and the trans community about. So, did I make a choice to be transgender? Hell no. I don't see why anybody in their right mind would choose to be a minority, to choose to be someone who has to fight to just be validated, just have their identity validated. Why you would choose to put yourself in danger of assault, sexual assault, and the interpersonal, trauma that you put yourself through on a daily basis, that I go through and have gone through on a daily basis. There's no way that any sane person would choose this struggle. You'll often hear transgender confused with sexual orientation, and in this instance, it's the one thing that I would say, is actually similar, is that it's not a choice. It's not a choice to be gay, bisexual, etc., and it is not a choice to be anywhere on the transgender spectrum. It's something that is part of your identity. It's part of how you just relate to yourself, your body, your mind, and the rest of the world. So when people tell me, or when I hear people say in the media or whatever that, this is a choice, it gets me really, really irritated. I struggled with this for years. I struggled with this for my entire life, you guys. As a kid, I knew that something wasn't right. I didn't relate right to my peers. I didn't think how I was being told that girls should think and act. really struggled with it in my teenage years. You know, when you're maturing, I knew something was wrong, and I knew I couldn't put a word on it because I didn't know it at that time. And getting into, my adult years, I really knew that something was terribly wrong with me. I did not fit into my body and into society the way that I was expected to. And honestly, I, again, didn't know the word for it. I thought that I was just really, really sick. And it was something that I couldn't even confront in my own head. Not to mention confronting with the world or talking to people about it. I didn't talk to friends about it. I didn't talk to my family about it. I thought that I was really, really sick, and something was just really wrong with me. So, did I make the choice to be transgender? No. And that's, why a lot of people made the comment to me after I came out. I started testosterone like 2 weeks later. I started transitioning pretty much right when I came out. And a lot of people said to me, like, wow, you moved really fast on this. Yeah, because I was so afraid to talk to people about it that by the time I was ready to do something about it and understood it, that's when I was ready to talk to people about it. It really was something that I was not ready to admit to the world for a very long time. So, it wasn't a choice to be trans. It's never a choice to be different and not fit in with society, in a way that's going to get you harmed psychologically and possibly physically and possibly sexually. So yeah, not a choice. What I did choose, though, was to transition. And that's really important. And that's something I think that a lot of people don't really understand. The weight of actually deciding to do this or deciding not to do it, rather. Transitioning has been one of the most frightening, difficult, exciting, gratifying things that I've ever done. It took me 34 years just to admit to myself that I was trans, and then as soon as I started to transition, I felt a huge weight come off of my shoulders. And a lot of people have said that to me. They've just said, you've seemed more comfortable. And they've said that since day one of coming out and starting to transition socially and then medically and then with surgeries and legally. And that's true. I feel a lot more comfortable. I'm able to relate to the world the way I always was meant to. On the other hand, it's not an easy thing to do. It's a very scary thing to tell people what you're doing to yourself and wait for that moment whether or not they're going to accept it or just completely turn their backs on you. And that has happened to me. It's terrifying to think of telling your family about it. That's probably the part that held me back the most, was thinking of the pain that you're going to put your family through, because it's not an easy thing. You're asking people to make a major change. And the thought of socially transitioning is just terrifying. I struggled with this probably about 3 years before I actually came out, where I was starting to learn how to define it, what I could do about it, and had to decide whether or not I was strong enough to do it. I mean, it was really like probably about 2 or 3 years that I struggled with it, and I was terrified. Just over a year ago, the last few months before I actually came out and started to transition, I was paralyzed with fear. Just crippling fear of what I was about to undertake. And I had a lot of things to consider, again, social aspects, career aspects, physical change, emotional change, what are hormones gonna do to you? There was a lot of things to consider and I struggled with making that choice for a long time. And I did make a choice. I did choose to transition socially, medically, and legally. And thank you. Thank you to everybody who has supported me. Thank you to everybody who has put in the conscious thought to change what you call me and how to address me. Thank you for everybody who has sat with me in those difficult moments, and there are a lot of difficult moments, and I don't show the majority of people in my life those difficult moments. It's hard for me to show people that, so if you're one of those people, thank you. So yeah, it's a choice what to do about it, you know, and a lot of people, they don't have that support system, and they're not able to actually transition, and they have to choose not to transition. And I come in contact with those people sometimes, and I just feel so bad because I know what this has done for me. It hasn't been easy, but I can definitely say I'm happier living as my true self. And I'm glad I made the choice. I'm glad I took on this struggle, and I'm looking forward to what the next year of changes brings me. And again, guys, thank you so much. I'll see you next week with, 2 weeks from now with my 1 year on T update. Thanks again.